Hey, I'm Dan Ackerman here at CES 2014 with Scott Stein, and one of the traditions we always do here every year, Scott, is a roundup of the best laptops and other PCs from the show. Obviously, computers always a really big category at CES.
It's a tradition. And now, this year it sort of feels like, you don't have the surprise of the tablets and convertibles in the same way, but there's still some new things coming out.
Right, last year we had Windows 8 for the first time. We had a
Yeah.
lot of people doing the hybrids, things that change shape and form. Before that, you had Ultrabooks, and even before that, Netbooks. So this year, I don't think there's a big kind of computer theme. I think we're seeing refinement, a lot of things that we saw before.
Yeah, it looks like price, affordability, maybe taking some of those ideas and, like you said, refining them, come up with something that's a little more viable.
Speaking of refining, actually, we have a refinement of one of our favorite laptops / hybrids from last year. This is the new Yoga 2. The Yoga obviously was one of our big hits last year. The Yoga 2 Pro came out in the fall of 2013. That was a very expensive, very premium system. This is the Yoga 2 minus the Pro, so it's a little bit more affordable. And what they do to make it more affordable is they take out that super high-res 3200 by 1800 screen, just goes back to regular 1080p.
It still
it's a little bit thicker, but you still get that awesome hinge. Look at that bends all the way back. And this is the 13-inch version. I think it's a bit under $1,000. It's still kind of premium. What I really like a lot is that they have an 11-inch version of the Yoga that has an Intel Pentium chip, so you trade down a little bit there, but that starts at $549, and to get this really great mechanical hinge on that is fantastic.
Well, it actually feels more like the IdeaPad line before the Yoga. If you ever shopped for an IdeaPad and looked at those like mid-range models, it kind of has that feel, but now they're incorporating that hinge. You can imagine you'll start seeing this in more laptops. Kind of like you saw touch across more laptops. Maybe all laptops will start becoming convertible like that.
That's kind of the big secret. I've actually seen a couple of other things this week that have this style of hinge on it.
Yeah.
Some of them have been announced, some of them haven't, but I think people are figuring out in that hybrid space, this is one of the designs that actually works because it doesn't mess with that laptop form factor.
We don't lose anything, so why not throw that in? It's like, if you can do that, then it's not a really crazy experimental design. It's just there for you, and the price is reasonable, so you're not paying up for it.
Hey, let me show you real fast. The four ways they want you to use it are, regular laptop. Okay. Then they have kind of the table tent like this.
That's the one I'm least likely to use. I would probably not use tent
unless you're displaying like restaurant specials or something.
You want to hide things underneath.
Then they have the kiosk, which I think is actually kind of cool because you just do it like this, like you're playing a movie, you're doing a presentation. The keyboard's out of the way, but you can still manipulate the touch screen. And then of course there's the tablet mode. And you still have the keyboard in the back there. Some people find that really weird, but it's deactivated. It's not a deal killer for me, but I'd love for someone to come up with one that makes the keyboard disappear.
Covers it. Or you need like a keyboard cozy underneath. Don't keep any liquid. You don't want liquids on your desk anyhow, but just like something, you don't want any schmutz on your desk.
But I love the Yoga line, and I love that they have the more expensive Yoga 2 Pro, and now the slightly more reasonable Yoga 2.
Well, it's great how affordable those are becoming. It's nice.
That's a great segue, because speaking of affordable,
there we go.
Everybody likes Chromebooks. That's like one of the hot topics right now.
I thought this was a MacBook looking at it from behind. The keyboard, I just got this MacBook feel.
It is very, especially the keyboard
with the
is
silver
very Mac-like
and the keyboard. At that angle, and then you crest over, and you're like, okay, this is different. What is this?
And yet, it is only $279 because this is the Toshiba Chromebook.
Yeah.
That's the only name, just Toshiba Chromebook. So it's a 13-inch Chromebook, and we haven't seen a 13-inch Chromebook before, which is crazy to me. We've seen some 11-inch models. Yeah. That's really been most of them. A couple of 14s, but nothing right here in the middle in the sweet spot.
Well, it feels exactly like kind of like an Ultrabook, but the plastic type feel. But it reminds me of the Chromebook Pixel. It reminds me of an affordable version of that type of level of laptop, but in a super budget area if you want to explore. The idea of a full Chromebook experience, if you want to buy that for simple browsing, it's not bad.
And at $279, it's going to be kind of plasticky, but it still actually looks and feels better than a lot of the other Chromebooks I've seen. And I like the screen that's not too big, not too small. We always say that a 13-inch laptop is really the ideal size because it's big enough you can work on it all day, but it's small enough that you can actually put it in your bag and carry it with you, at least 3 or 4 days a week. So that 13-inch size in the middle, it's got an HDMI output.
Yeah, it's got a lot of outputs. I mean, you've got USB, 2 USB 3, an HDMI, SD card slot, so you got all that stuff.
I remember I tried using a Chromebook for a week or two, and it was a little bit of a struggle. It didn't do every single thing I wanted it to do, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
If you're blogging, you're living only in a web environment, like even the stuff that we file here at CNET, you can totally do it as long as you're not too dependent on advanced photo work. You could do that too, but yeah, for your basic stuff, it's very functional.
As long as, I have to add, you have an internet connection.
Yes, there is offline. There's offline elements, but I feel very worried. You can cache Google Docs. It feels like a leap of faith, even though I've never lost anything. It's a sense that you're still in a browser environment. They're getting a little better with offline apps, a little better with that, but it is a largely, you have to be connected.
And if there's any kind of stress test for whether you can stay online reliably, it's definitely here at CES. where there's so many signals and so
Cross
many
your
problems
fingers
that you have to
and-
carry 3 hotspots with you just to get one signal.
Yeah, actually the built-in AT&T Wi-Fi alternately is fantastic for me or not. Sometimes it's my savior.
And on the very high end of the scale, opposite the low end, is a new addition to one of your favorite laptop lines, Scott, and that's the
It is.
Samsung ATIV Book 9. This is just called the ATIV Book 9 2014 edition. It's a 15-inch version.
So not
You
called
just reviewed
Plus or
the-
Light or anything.
I
like
don't
that.
think it's a Plus
No?
or Light in that, and you reviewed the 13-inch version, the
Yes.
Book 9 Plus, and you loved it. Why did you love it?
Well, I loved it because it was thin. It had a tremendously high resolution screen. The price wasn't too off of what you're paying for equivalent products like that. And just the design and performance were great. And the battery life was great. And that line of Book 9, or before it was Series 9, those have been a great line of products. And there's been experimentation. I remember the 15-inch Series 9 that came out a little while ago. I mean, it's bigger. I love the compactness, but still you got the design here is, largely the same. And it looks like the port design is the same too.
Yeah, I like having a super big touchscreen on a super slim laptop. You don't really see that too often, even now. This doesn't have the super high resolution screen that the 13-inch version has. I think it's just a 1080p screen,
Really?
But it's also only going to be about $1,200. So if you're
Okay.
going to compete kind of with Apple in that over $1,000 price area, you really have to be super premium. And I think this Book 9 series is one of the few guys that actually does that. They have some new audio decoding hardware in here that's kind of interest to audiophiles that works very nicely with uncompressed audio files, kind of like lossless ATTRACK files. And if you bought something like, I don't know, like that Beatles MP3 Apple that came out a few years ago, you get the regular MP3 files and you get the ATTRACK files, which are like 24-bit files. And not a lot of computer equipment plays nice with those, so I think that's kind of cool.
I kind of wish this had a higher resolution screen. Although, looking at it, I don't notice that the difference is there. I mean, it looks, from this distance, it looks good. And it looks very sharp,
Well, maybe that'll be the Plus edition that'll come out later.
probably.
And one of my favorite things this year is a sequel to one of my favorite things from last year, and that is this big guy right here.
Yeah.
This is the Lenovo Horizon 2, sequel to the Horizon 27. It is a 27-inch, what I call a tabletop PC. It's basically a gigantic tablet because it's got a battery in it, and then you can put this kickstand up and add a keyboard and mouse, and then it's like an all-in-one PC.
Okay.
Lenovo actually has a table stand right now. We've got it sitting down there that you can actually roll it around on. It's like a kitchen cart.
Oh, yeah, look
And
at that.
you can put it flat and roll it around all over the place. We took it off so we can play with it here. So what the thing allows you to do is stand it up like this, regular all-in-one PC, then you push down and the hinge goes down. There we go. And then it kicks into this special mode called Aura. It's like a software overlay that Lenovo came up with that's good for this tabletop thing. And in the office, whenever we have a
gaming
tabletop PC, we put them on the couch, we put them on ottomans, tables. People just want to come over. It's very sci-fi, like they want to manipulate photos and move stuff around.
Yeah, this
and
is like
play
where you
with
have your
maps.
situation room where you're all going to stand around and kind of manipulate things.
It's
I don't know
like
what I'm going to manipulate on this, but I want to manipulate things.
But something. And it's kind of like the original product called Surface that Microsoft had.
Right.
That was a big tabletop PC, and then they used the name for something else. So here we're into it now. I can take a photo right here, and I can move it around, and I can spin it, and I can go into games. And you can move that around an app. And let's do a little, air hockey.
Right.
And it comes with these little paddles and a couple other gaming accessories. Let's see if we can launch the air hockey game, and that'll give us a fun little
It's thinner.
fun
It's
little
still,
demo.
it's still heavy. I mean, you don't want to carry
It's
this
15
around.
pounds.
This is,
Last year's was 18 pounds.
Yeah,
You still don't want
yeah.
to carry it around, but you can go from room
No.
to room at least. And it is definitely thinner than last year's.
all right.
So I'm going to challenge you very quickly to a one-point game of air hockey.
Let's do it.
We're going to go
experience
classic.
with This is unfair.
This is unfair. That's right. I'm a
still
ringer.
gonna
I'm going to
kick
let
your
you win the
butt.
first one. Then we're going to make it interesting.
Yeah. Here
All
we
right.
go.
Put your panel in a little circle. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Okay. Don't score on yourself, Scott. Oh, I
There we
just
go.
did it. You
all
win.
right. See
Well-
you let me win.
That shows that you were the better air hockey player than me. Thank you, Scott. I
Throw the
appreciate
dough.
that.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much our collection of a lot of the favorite PCs that we've seen here at CES 2014 so far.
Yeah.
So thank you, Scott Stein. I'm
Sure.
Dan Ackerman.
I'm Scott Stein.
And these are our best PCs of CES 2014.